What's happening, guys? So I got a question on a recent YouTube video. I wanted to address it in this video. The question actually came from my wonderful and most beautiful wife, Teresa. But really, I keep talking about this, but I really would love to see questions from you. I mean, if you have a question, drop it in the comments, shoot me a direct message on Instagram, wherever you can get a hold of me, shoot me an email if you want, and I would be happy to cover it. I love covering topics and questions that you guys have. But anyway, the question is basically, what does a process look like after somebody has gone through a reverse and then cut down and they're done with their cut? What does the process look like after that? So the answer to that question is, you already know. It depends. It depends a lot. But there's a few different scenarios that I'd like to cover. And there's a few different ways that we would typically approach it depending on what the person wants to do. So if we're just talking about somebody who just kind of wants to maintain, isn't super into fitness and isn't like just really driven by trying to build muscle and trying to make major improvements to their body composition and make big changes, and they just kind of want to live their life and enjoy the amount of food that they eat and enjoy the way they look and feel good and have good energy and just kind of maintain, then we're going to be a little bit more diligent coming out of the cutting phase, and what we're basically going to do is try to establish a new maintenance for them and get them to a point where they're happy with kind of the overall aspect of everything. So we're going to look at, okay, how often does this person want to train per week? How much cardio would they like to do per week? And how much food do they like to eat? All right, how many calories would they like to eat? Now, what we would have to do is we'd have to slowly get them there. Okay, so say this person wants to train 3 days a week and would like to do 20 to 30 minutes of cardio per week, and they would like to get their calories up to, maybe around, they would say maybe 2,000 calories would be kind of a happy point for them, because most people have kind of a happy spot with calories where it's not too little, it's not too much, and they can kind of be pretty flexible and enjoy a lot of the food that they like, but they don't have to go crazy and they don't have to overly stuff themselves. So we want to try to kind of find that happy spot, but we can't just go right there, right? So if you're dieting on 1,300 calories and you're doing 2 hours of cardio a week and you have now reached your goal and you just want to kind of try to maintain that the best you can, well, we can't just jump you to 2,000 calories and doing 20 minutes of cardio, or you're going to gain a crap load of fat because your body has gone through the adaptations and the adjustments down to those lower calories. So we need to slowly increase the calories back up and slowly taper the cardio back down to try to get you there. And what we would probably do in that process, depending on if you want to continue to track or not. So if you're someone who doesn't mind tracking and kind of likes to do it, we could go ahead and just go through a normal reverse, get your calories up. We'll probably take it a little bit slower because you want to maintain it. So it would be a good idea to even possibly do it so you're in a small deficit still and not make a big jump at first. So you can lose a little bit more as you step your calories up, and then as you get your calories a little bit higher, you probably gain a little bit more as glycogen fills up and things like that, and life kind of happens. You'll still be around the same spot as you get your calories up and cardio down, and then you just kind of hold that and see how it goes for a while and try to hold it there. Now, if you're someone who would like to be more intuitive and not pay so close attention to their eating and their tracking and everything else, now we want to take some steps to try to get you there, right? I wouldn't say stop dieting and then don't pay attention and don't track. All right, you're in a position where your intuition is going to be off. Your body is going to be trying to tell you everything. It's going to try to force you to gain weight as much as possible. It wants you to gain that weight back. It's your body's self-defense mechanism, and it's going to be talking to you, and it's going to try to get you to gain weight back and fast. So we have to ignore those, and we don't want to just not track because your intuition will be wrong. Your intuition will tell you to eat everything and never stop. So we want to still track and try to get you to a better place, and then as you start feeling better and feel more like yourself and hormones are in a better spot and your calories are higher, your cardio is lower, now we start taking some steps to try to wean you off the tracking a little bit and try to be a little bit more flexible. So maybe we start with, okay, instead of strict macros, we look at calories and protein, right? And we do that for a while. Then maybe we do just look at calories and just don't pay attention to protein, but just make sure that you get a good protein serving or source with every single meal. Then maybe we start implementing some untracked meals throughout the week. So, okay, one night a week, go out with your spouse or whatever, go out to eat and kind of have what you want, but eat it within reason. Don't go crazy, don't track it, don't worry about putting it in your log, and do it that way. And then maybe we do an untracked day, and then maybe we do an untracked weekend, and kind of like we reverse diet and slowly bring your calories up, we kind of slowly get you off the tracking as well. But it's hard to just go from tracking diligently to not tracking at all and just go, because you're just not prepared for it. All right, we need to build the habits. And even though we can be super flexible with flexible dieting and tracking, and I hate the term IFYM, but you get what I mean. You can eat whatever as long as it fits within your macros. As well as you can be flexible with that, it still can be difficult to just take that and just go to not tracking at all. So that would be for the person who wants to kind of maintain, wants to get off tracking and be more flexible and just kind of live their life in a comfortable spot. That would be the approach that I want to take it. Now, if you're someone who is looking to make further improvements and wants to now go ahead and build some more muscle, get stronger, focus heavily on more fitness related goals, we're going to go ahead and we're probably going to bring up the calories a little bit faster, all right, so we can get you feeling better a little bit faster. We can start optimizing your hormones a little bit faster. We get the muscle building process happening a little bit faster. We still don't want to go crazy, because while you do need to be in a calorie surplus to efficiently build muscle, unless you're a complete beginner or on steroids, you still need to keep it minimal. All right, we don't need to be in a big surplus to optimally build muscle. We just need a small surplus. So we're still going to reverse diet. We're just going to be a little bit more aggressive with the calorie increases. We're probably still going to track macros, and we're just going to focus a little bit more on performance and making a little bit bigger increases to make sure that we put into a position to more optimally build. We're still going to taper cardio down some. I think it's a good idea to keep at least some cardio in. Pretty much for anybody, but especially people who are looking to build muscle and maybe you're looking to compete down the road or something like that. I find that keeping some cardio in is beneficial for work capacity, for just, your lungs and general overall health, your heart health and everything else. It's good to keep some in. We just don't want to do any excessive amounts, because excessive cardio does have an interference with muscle building. So we want to get cardio down and not do quite as much as we did during our cut, but not necessarily get it to none. I mean, you can do none, but I do recommend that you at least have some in. But the positive thing of getting it down more is the less cardio you're doing now during the building season, once you go to cut again down the road, you have more options to get things going again, right? So we can get your calories nice and high, we can get your cardio nice and low. Now we can make a big adjustment to get the fat loss going and have plenty of room to make more adjustments down the road. So there are benefits to it. So that would be more for someone who is just really into fitness and wants to get the best results they can to optimally change their body composition in a way that they like. We still need to go through building and cut phases, but we want to focus a little bit more on getting calories up. And unlike with the last person, where we're just trying to get you to a position where, well, let's just be comfortable with the amount of food that we eat, we might want to push a little bit higher and add a little bit more calories if we can. Again, just to put you in a better position to make sure that you can not only cut better down the road, because you'll have more room to make adjustments, although you're still gonna have to get aggressive, so keep that in mind. Or it's not just for that, it's also to, again, optimize hormones, optimize performance, and train hard and all that type of stuff. So that would be more for the person who is not really a competitor, but someone that's pretty serious about their fitness, serious about making improvements to their body composition and wants to push themselves and make improvements, and is probably going to go through a lot of different building and cutting phases to try to keep getting better and better, but not necessarily a competitor. So the last kind of scenario that I would look at would be somebody who is a competitor, in which case now we're going to be even more aggressive probably, depending upon when you want to compete and how far down the road that is. If you're coming out of a position where you're extremely lean, we want to get the fat back on, at least some fat back on, in a not super fast method. We don't necessarily have to go like full recovery diet where you just throw a bunch of fat on immediately to try to feel better, but you want to make pretty aggressive changes in the beginning to start adding a little bit of fat back, because if you get to a position where you're extremely lean and your body fat is super low, you're going to be in a bad position, and part of the recovery from that is going to be by adding body fat. Yes, it's getting calories up too, but it's also increasing body fat. Is going to help with hormones and performance and all that type of stuff, and levers and everything else. So in that instance, we're going to be a little bit more aggressive in the beginning, and then once again, we're still going to be tracking macros. We're still going to be pretty diligent with it in the beginning phases. We can be a little bit more flexible in both scenarios here in terms of as calories get higher, we can be more flexible. So the more you're eating, the more flexible you can be with things. And you know, flexibility and accuracy is like a sliding scale. So if you think about if you had a scale where if you put more weight on one side, the other side goes up. If you got flexibility and accuracy, if flexibility goes up, accuracy goes down. If flexibility goes down, accuracy goes up. So we can't be both flexible and accurate at the same time. It's not possible. So in the beginning stages, accuracy is going to be higher, flexibility is going to be down. As calories come up, we have more options, and now we're starting to swing to it's a little bit more balanced. And then as calories get really high, we don't have to pay such close attention because you're already going to have sufficient amounts of carbs and fats and everything else that you're going to be in a good position, and you don't have to watch it quite so closely. And it's going to start shifting more towards being more flexible and a little bit less accurate, which is okay. But for the competitor, we still want to be pretty diligent. We can still implement some free meals and untracked meals and things like that occasionally, but for the most part, it's good to be a little bit more diligent, pay closer attention, depending on how competitive you want to be and how important it is to you. You know, the more diligent you can be, the better results you're going to get. So we just have to kind of keep that in mind. So that's pretty much it. I hope that helps. I hope that kind of covered what you were looking for. If not, please let me know and I will answer your questions or maybe do another video on it. Any questions at all, please let me know and I will talk to you later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.